In the summer of 1970, in the quiet town of Price, Utah, a 4-year-old girl named Heidi Jones stood on her tiptoes, pressing her face against her bedroom door. Through the cold metal of a keyhole, she watched the unthinkable. Loretta Jones was a vibrant, loving, 23-year-old single mother. But on the morning of July 31st, the laughter in their home stopped. 4-year-old Heidi walked out of her bedroom and into the living room. There, on the floor, she found her mother. Loretta had been brutally beaten and stabbed to death. When the police arrived, the traumatized toddler kept repeating 3 words. Over and over again. Tom did it. Tom did it. Police immediately knew who Tom was. Thomas Edward Egley had briefly dated Loretta. And on the very night of the murder, he had been arrested for attempting to kidnap a 10-year-old girl in Loretta's neighborhood. It seemed like an open and shut case. But Egley had a card to play. He married his girlfriend shortly after the murder, ensuring she couldn't testify against him. With a lack of physical evidence, the judge dismissed the murder charges. Thomas Egley walked out of the courtroom a free man. And just like that, the world moved on. Heidi was adopted by her grandparents. To protect her from the agonizing grief, her family stopped speaking about the murder. Over time, Heidi blocked out the memories. She survived by pretending her mother had never existed, trading her identity as an orphaned only child for a quiet life with her cousins-turned-siblings. But you can't bury the truth forever. And deep down, Heidi never forgot the keyhole. In 1989, living in California, Heidi saw a television show about unsolved mysteries. The spark was reignited. She wrote to the show. She wrote to law enforcement. But she hit wall after wall. No one wanted to dig up a ghost from 1970. Fast forward to 2009. Heidi, now back in Utah, had her car stolen over a holiday weekend. She posted about it on Facebook. Among the comments was a name she recognized, David Brewer, a high school friend who was now a detective with the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. Heidi didn't just ask David to find her car. She sat down with him and asked him to do the impossible, find her mother's killer. As Detective Brewer opened the dusty 1970 file, he discovered a horrifying, heartbreaking detail that had been kept from the public. On the night of her death, as Loretta Jones lay dying on the floor, she had used her final ounce of strength to do something incredible. With her own finger, in her own blood, Loretta had written 2 letters on the floor, T and O. She was dying, but she was still trying to protect her daughter. She was naming her killer. Armed with new determination, Detective Brewer and Detective Wally Hendricks tracked Thomas Egley to Rocky Ford, Colorado. But they needed more than a 40-year-old bloodstain. They needed a confession. In a brilliant piece of police work, detectives enlisted the help of Egley's neighbor, Lisa Carter. Working with law enforcement, she helped draw out the truth from the aging suspect. Then, in 2016, came the most painful step of all. To secure the forensic nail in the coffin, Loretta's body had to be exhumed. Heidi had waited until her grandmother passed away in 2015 to do this, knowing the sight of her daughter's casket being raised would have killed her. 46 years after she was laid to rest, Loretta Jones returned to the light to finish what she started. In 2016, Thomas Egley finally pleaded guilty to the murder of Loretta Jones. He was sentenced to 10 years to life. In the hallway outside the courtroom, Heidi stood face to face with the monster of her childhood nightmares. She looked at Detective Brewer and whispered, "He's not the boogeyman." Brewer looked at her and replied, "Even the boogeyman gets old." At the sentencing, Heidi turned to face Egley directly. "Heidi, I wanted to make sure he heard every single word I was trying to drive into his heart. He took my mother. But he did not take my hope. When a family feels hopeless, you can't give up. As long as you have hope, you have a chance. Believe. Believe. Believe."